This was the first time humans used a telescope to observe Mars, but scientist Jella suddenly noticed flames rising from Mars as if someone there was firing artillery shells. Upon hearing her discovery, everyone was ecstatic, and the teacher quickly captured the scene Jella had seen. However, due to the underdeveloped technology in the early 20th century, the photos were unclear, so the teacher Kieran eventually concluded that it was just a large-scale volcanic eruption on Mars. Jella also thought it might be the case, but the series of events that followed completely shattered her original perception. That evening, a blue light suddenly lit up outside their house, followed by a violent tremor. Jella and her husband, Galen, quickly rushed outside only to see a streak of cloud left behind in the sky, clearly indicating that something had fallen from high altitude to the ground. So early the next morning, Jella, her husband, and Kieran followed the direction of the cloud. They entered a forest where a large area of trees had been scorched. In the center of the burned clearing lay a massive meteorite, unlike any ordinary meteorite. This one was enormous and would vibrate periodically. The strange sight made everyone uneasy, and Galen suggested they avoid rash actions while he went to find the authorities. However, since all communication had been cut off since the previous night, he could only walk on foot. Before long, Galen managed to find people from the National Security Department and led them back. Everyone agreed to dig out the soil around the meteorite first. Unexpectedly, when they had only dug halfway, a crack suddenly appeared on the surface of the meteorite, accompanied by a mechanical gear-like sound from within, as if something was about to come out. The people present were all frightened and quickly stepped back to observe from a distance. The next second, the outer shell of the meteorite began to peel off. It was then that everyone was horrified to discover that inside the meteorite was actually a large black sphere. One of the high-ranking officials cautiously stepped forward and placed his hand on the sphere. The sphere's surface was covered in a sticky liquid, but was incredibly smooth, clearly reflecting the person's image. However, to everyone's shock, the black sphere suddenly began to spin. In an instant, the remaining outer shell fell off completely, startling everyone present. Before they could react, the sphere spun faster and faster, gradually lifting itself 5 meters above the ground. No one had ever witnessed such a scene, and they were all too stunned to move, wanting to see what would happen next. Little did they know a crisis that could lead to human extinction was already unfolding. The black sphere, after reaching a certain height, stopped rising, but instead began to spin wildly, breaking itself apart into countless black fragments.